Wow, building on time? I've been wanting to try to build something for speed for a long time. Let's learn how to build a mob statue.
Round 1.
I want to build a very big chicken statue today. I start with yellow wool to make the skinny legs for the chicken, because yellow is the perfect color for bird feet. Then I use white wool to build the fluffy chest of the bird. After that, I make the head using red wool and black wool and yellow terracotta for the beak. I build the back of the chicken body so it looks nice and fat. But a chicken is too boring by itself, so I decide to put a rider on top. I start building the legs of an adult zombie sitting right on the chicken back. I use gray wool and light gray wool and blue wool to make the zombie pants look like real clothes. Higher up, I make his chest using cyan wool because zombies always wear that famous cyan shirt. Then I make his big square head with green wool and green concrete, and I use black wool for the eyes. Finally, I build his arms sticking straight out in front of him using cyan and green wool so he looks like he is trying to grab something. My chicken rider statue is totally finished, and it looks very funny.
What? Hello?
Hey, Banana Kid! Look! I built it in just 1 minute! Do you like?
Yay!
Really? I am very glad that you like my makeshift construction. Maybe then you'll try to build a mob statue yourself in just 10 minutes?
Ta-da!
They ran to the place. This is where your building will be. Are you ready?
Yay!
Then go ahead.
Round 2.
Now I am watching Banana Kid start his statue, and I have no idea what he is making yet. He starts by building a really thick, blocky leg on the ground. At the very bottom, he uses black terracotta and brown terracotta to make it look like a dirty, heavy shoe. Higher up on the leg, he switches to gray concrete and iron blocks. Iron blocks are very strong, and they have a nice shiny metal look. Then he moves over to the right side and builds a second leg exactly like the first one. Both legs are very wide and tall. I wonder if he is building a giant robot or maybe a big gray monster. Using metal and dark clay makes the statue look super heavy. A heavy base is actually a good idea when you build a tall statue because it stops the build from looking like it will fall over. He places the blocks very carefully so the two legs match perfectly. Above those heavy legs, Banana starts building a giant rectangular body. He uses the exact same iron blocks and gray concrete so the colors match the legs. First, he builds a big square outline in the air just to see how wide the chest will be. Outlines are a very smart trick because if you make a mistake, you only have to break a few blocks instead of a whole solid wall. Banana Kid has only 7 minutes left. He needs to hurry up. After the outline is perfectly straight, he starts filling all the empty space inside with more iron and gray concrete. Every once in a while, he puts a single gold block right in the middle of the metal wall. The gold blocks look like little shiny buttons or maybe old rusty spots on a machine. I ask him what those shiny yellow spots are for, and he just makes a happy squeak. The body is looking very massive and wide at the top. I think I am starting to figure out what mob he is trying to make. Banana moves to the right side of the giant body and begins making an arm. He does not make a normal little arm. He builds a super long one that reaches almost all the way down to the grass. First, he makes the inner base of the arm using gray concrete so it has a solid, dark core. Then he covers the outside and fills the gaps with iron blocks so the arm matches the heavy metal chest. An arm that touches the ground is a huge clue. Half the time, is he sure he'll make it? I finally realize he is building an Iron Golem. Iron Golems always have those famous long arms so they can swing at zombies and protect the villagers. Building a long arm is hard because you have to make sure it hangs straight down without looking like a wet noodle. Banana does a great job keeping the corners sharp and the shape very blocky. The right arm looks like a giant metal pillar hanging from the shoulder. Now Banana jumps up to the top of the body to build the Iron Golem head. He uses iron blocks for the main skin of the face because golems are made of pure metal. For the eyes, he places black terracotta and red concrete so the golem looks a little bit angry and very protective. He also adds some black concrete for the dark spaces around the eyes. To go. Banana Kid, hurry up! The most important part of a golem face is the nose. Banana builds a very big, wide nose sticking right out of the middle of the face. If you forget the big nose, it just looks like a gray zombie. After the front of the face is done, he goes around and covers the sides and the back of the head with more iron blocks to make a complete solid box. The head is very wide and flat on top. I tell him his golem looks very serious and ready to fight monsters, and he nods his head at me. Banana does something very strange and sad next. Right under the left eye of the Iron Golem, he places a line of ice blocks going down the face. Ice blocks are a very cool choice because they are slightly clear, and they look exactly like wet, shiny water. He is giving his giant metal protector a stream of tears. That is a very creative way to use blocks that belong in cold biomes. I ask him why the big, strong golem is crying today. He just makes a soft little sad noise and points at the tear. Maybe the golem is sad because there are no villagers around to protect right now. Adding a story to a statue makes it much better than just copying a picture. The bright blue color of the ice blocks also looks really nice against all the plain gray iron and concrete. It is a tiny detail, but it changes how the whole face feels when you look at it. Banana shakes off the sad mood and goes to the left side of the body to build the second arm. He uses the exact same iron blocks and gray concrete that he used for the right arm. But this time, he does not make the arm hang straight down. He builds the left arm extending straight forward into the air. Changing the pose of a statue is a very good idea. If a statue just stands there with both arms down, it looks very boring and stiff like a plastic toy. When one arm is pointing or reaching the whole build, looks like it is moving. Building an arm that sticks out is a bit tricky because you have to build in mid-air without dropping blocks on the floor. Banana counts the blocks carefully to make sure the left arm is just as thick and strong as the right arm. I tell him the golem looks like it wants a hug and he laughs his funny little laugh. Right at the end of the reaching left arm, Banana adds a beautiful detail. He builds a big flower sitting in the metal hand of the Iron Golem. He uses bright lime wool to make the green stem and the little leaves. Then he uses red concrete to make the bright petals at the top. This explains everything. Iron Golems are famous for offering red flowers to baby villagers in the game. That is probably why he is crying too. He is holding out a flower, but nobody is there to take it. The lime wool and red concrete are so bright and colorful. They create a huge contrast with the cold gray iron body. Contrast means putting very different colors next to each other, so they stand out more. The soft, bright flower makes the heavy metal robot look very gentle and kind. Banana is really good at telling a story with just a few blocks. There are only a few minutes left. Banana seems to be finishing up already. The dark terracotta feet make it look planted on the ground, and the shiny iron body looks totally unbreakable. The random gold blocks add that perfect rusty old texture. The straight right arm and the reaching left arm make a very balanced but active pose. The best part is still the ice block tears and the bright red flower.
Ta-da! Yay!
Where did everyone run off to? Hey guys, what's all that noise?
Banana Kid and I are building a mob statue on time, JJ. Who did it better?
Oh, both of your buildings look great, but I think it's up to the audience to decide who did the best.
Yes, JJ, you're right. Maybe then you have comments on the construction of Banana Kid?
I don't think I can have any comments on such a detailed construction.
I totally agree with you, JJ. Maybe then you can build your mob statue in 15 minutes.
Okay, then let's run to the place.
JJ, good luck to you. We'll wait in the house.
That?
Thanks, guys. Then I'm starting. Round 3. For my project, I am constructing an atypical statue of an Enderman. Rather than using the traditional black materials like obsidian or concrete, I am building this creature entirely out of natural landscape blocks. This design approach creates a surreal contrast because the Enderman is a creature from another dimension, but I am sculpting it from the earth itself. I begin by forming the long, slender legs using solid stone blocks. To achieve the massive scale required for this project, I utilize building commands. Commands allow me to generate large vertical columns of stone instantly, which saves a tremendous amount of manual labor. In architectural planning, using commands for structural framing ensures absolute precision. I generate both legs with the exact same height and width. This provides a perfectly symmetrical and highly stable foundation for the towering body that will sit above them. Once the stone legs are established, I move upward to construct the torso and the head. I continue utilizing commands to quickly generate these massive geometric shapes out of solid stone. The Enderman requires a very specific rectangular torso and a perfectly square head to remain recognizable. After the full stone silhouette is complete, I use a replacement command to swap the top half of the body and the head into dirt blocks. In structural design, dividing a tall vertical object into two distinct materials prevents the sculpture from looking monotonous. The heavy gray stone anchors the bottom, while the brown dirt provides a softer organic texture at the top. This horizontal split completely changes the visual dynamic of the mob. It looks as though the creature is quite literally formed from the sedimentary layers of the Minecraft world itself. A straight horizontal line between the dirt and the stone looks unnatural and artificial. To fix this, I manually rework the boundary layer where the two materials meet. I randomly swap pieces of dirt into the stone section and pieces of stone into the dirt section. This technique is known as dithering or gradient blending. By creating a staggered pixelated edge, the transition from hard rock to soft earth feels organic and weathered. In real geology, material layers blend gradually over time rather than separating in a perfect mathematical line. This attention to texture is what elevates a basic pixel art build into a high-quality sculpture. The scattered blocks trick the eye into seeing a natural slope of materials. The body now looks like an ancient chunk of terrain that simply stood up and took the shape of an Enderman. I focus next on the face of the creature. The eyes are the defining feature of any Enderman, so they must be vibrant and piercing. I use purple glass and glowing chroma blocks to create the wide rectangular eyes. The chroma blocks emit a natural luminescence, while the purple glass adds depth and transparency. Placing bright neon colors against the dull brown dirt creates an exceptional visual contrast that immediately draws the viewer's attention to the face. To further integrate the natural theme, I embed several stone blocks randomly across the dirt surface of the head. These stones act like rocky outcroppings on a hillside. This prevents the large square head from appearing flat and adds necessary topological volume. The glowing purple eyes staring out from a rocky dirt face give the statue a truly mystical and ancient aesthetic. I still have a lot of time left. I definitely have to do everything in time. I proceed to build the right arm, extending straight forward from the shoulder. Since the upper torso is made of dirt, I construct the entire arm using dirt blocks to maintain material consistency. An arm extending forward creates a dynamic pose, implying that the giant creature is interacting with its environment. To enhance the natural landscape theme, I replace the top layer of the extended arm with grass blocks. In Minecraft, grass naturally spreads to connected dirt blocks exposed to the sky. Applying grass to the top of the horizontal arm mimics the behavior of a real floating island. From an engineering standpoint, the arm acts like a cantilevered beam, projecting outward without lower support. The bright green grass introduces a third major color to the palette, which beautifully complements the brown dirt and the gray stone below. Constructing a perfectly identical arm on the opposite side manually can be incredibly tedious and prone to alignment errors. Therefore, I use a copy and paste command to duplicate the completed right arm. I flip the geometry and paste it securely onto the left shoulder. Using clone commands ensures that the length, width, and grass placement are mathematically identical to the right side. Absolute symmetry is vital for the limbs of a mob statue because an unbalanced arm can ruin the rigid mechanical posture that Endermen are famous for. Both arms are now extending forward parallel to each other. The creature appears to be offering something or preparing to hold a massive object. The structural frame of the atypical Enderman is now fully realized, and I can begin adding the smaller environmental details that will bring this landscape statue to life. To emphasize the massive scale of this statue, I construct a small village house directly on top of the Enderman head. I build this structure using traditional oak wood logs, oak planks, and terracotta blocks. Adding a familiar player-scaled building on top of the creature provides an immediate point of reference for the viewer. When you see a standard-sized house resting on the head, you instantly realize just how colossal the statue beneath it truly is. I install glass panes in the windows and place a standard wooden door at the entrance. The warm oak and terracotta colors blend harmoniously with the dirt foundation of the head. This design transforms the Enderman from a simple monster statue into a walking piece of habitable terrain. It creates a fascinating narrative about a village being built on the back of a dormant giant. I've got half the time left. I'm kind of in time. A house alone is not enough to sell the illusion of a living landscape. I apply bone meal generously across the grass surfaces on top of the head to spawn tall grass and bright flowers. The random placement of foliage makes the terrain feel wild and unmanaged. I also plant several oak saplings and grow them into full trees surrounding the small house. Trees provide verticality and cast natural shadows across the head, which breaks up the rigid square silhouette of the Enderman. To complete the ecosystem, I carve a shallow basin into the dirt and fill it with water to create a small artificial pond. Water is a highly reflective material that adds motion and a calming blue contrast to the green foliage. The top of the statue is now a fully functioning miniature biome, complete with shelter flora and a vital water source. I extend this vibrant ecosystem down to the extended arms of the statue. Using bone meal again, I generate tall grass and a variety of colorful flowers along the top grass layer of both arms. Decorating the arms serves an important visual purpose. The long horizontal lines of the dirt arms could easily become boring to look at from a distance. The bright red, yellow, and blue flowers act as visual anchors that keep the viewer's eye moving across the entire length of the limbs. In environmental design, distributing flora evenly prevents the build from looking top-heavy. If all the greenery was isolated to the head, the lower sections would feel neglected. By allowing the vegetation to spill over onto the arms, the entire upper half of the creature feels like a cohesive, thriving garden suspended high above the ground level. I want to add some magical corruption to this natural golem to remind the viewer of its dimensional origins. In the lower left section of the stone torso, I carve out a jagged asymmetrical cavity. I line the interior walls of this hollow space with bright red nether wart blocks. The deep crimson color creates a stunning and aggressive contrast against the cool gray stone. In architectural modeling, carving into a solid mass creates negative space, which adds immense depth and complexity to an otherwise flat surface. The nether wart blocks possess a fleshy organic texture that implies some sort of dimensional energy is burning inside the rock. This glowing red wound breaks the perfect geometry of the torso and tells a story of magical instability. The combination of nature and nether elements makes the statue incredibly unique. To balance the composition, I carve a second cavity into the upper right section of the torso, bridging the boundary between the dirt and the stone. I line this new cavity with prismarine blocks. Prismarine offers a brilliant cyan and teal coloration, which contrasts perfectly with the red nether wart on the opposite side. Balancing warm and cool colors across a large structure is a fundamental rule of color theory. The cyan tones also represent the aquatic elements of the Minecraft world, complementing the pond on the creature's head. By placing these two cavities diagonally from each other, I ensure that the torso remains visually balanced without being perfectly symmetrical. These glowing geode-like pockets make the giant Enderman look like a container of raw elemental power rather than just a simple statue made of dirt and stone. Oh no, time flies so fast, I didn't even notice. To further enhance the geological theme of the build, I embed various precious ores directly into the skin of the Enderman. I scatter blocks of diamond ore, gold ore, and emerald ore randomly across both the stone and dirt sections of the body. These scattered ores act as small, reflective highlights that catch the eye as you scan the massive structure. In real geology, valuable minerals are often revealed when rock formations shift or break apart. Including these ores makes the creature look incredibly ancient and valuable, as if it were carved directly from a resource-rich mountain. The sparkling blue, yellow, and green pixels break the monotony of the gray and brown surfaces. Small detailing steps like this are what separate a good structural build from a masterpiece. The texture of the body is now rich, dynamic, and highly detailed. Last minute, I have to hurry. Finally, I construct the object that the Enderman is holding between its extended arms. I design a massive replica of an end portal frame block. I use end stone, dark prismarine, and cyan concrete to build the base of the frame. To ensure perfect geometric accuracy, and to save time, I utilize fill commands to generate the lower sections of this massive block. Above the frame, I construct the Eye of Ender, using vibrant lime concrete and black concrete for the pupil. Building a giant portal frame ties the entire concept together, perfectly connecting the natural overworld materials to the creature's true home dimension. The bright green eye looks directly forward, adding a striking focal point right in the center of the outstretched arms. Great! My mob statue is ready! It's time for me to show it to the guys!
Wow, JJ, you've got such an incredible statue of Enderman. He's like a colossus that holds our world together.
Thank you guys. I am very glad that you liked my building. Friends, be sure to write in the comments whose building you liked the most. Well, I think it's time for us to finish.
Yes, JJ, you're right.
Subscribe and like. Bye-bye.